Look, I am not going to sit here and pretend I was some kind of saint at the Celestial Accord Academy. My name is Veko, and yes, I was absolutely the kind of student who thought it was hilarious to mess with the new kids. Me and my crew, Zarn, Quilp and Tessa, we had a reputation, a good one, if you ask me, a terrible one, if you ask literally anyone else on campus. The academy was one of those fancy multi-species educational facilities, right? Real prestigious. 73 different species from across the galaxy, all crammed into one station orbiting a neutral moon. The place was massive, gleaming metal and glass everywhere, with artificial gravity zones customized for different species. Real high-tech stuff, real expensive stuff. The kind of place where the offspring of diplomats and merchants went to learn about interstellar cooperation and whatever. Translation: the perfect hunting ground for harmless pranks. We were good at what we did. Okay. Nothing truly dangerous. Just enough to make the newcomers jump a little, maybe question their life choices, build character, you know. The holographic spider in the bathroom, the fake airlock breach alarm, the old synthetic slime in the ventilation shaft trick. Classics. Every single one of them. So when Administrator Quillnex announced during morning assembly that we were getting another transfer student, we were already planning. My eye stalks perked right up. Zarn, who was sitting next to me, his scales already shifting to that excited purple color. Quilp was clicking his mandibles together in anticipation. Even Tessa, who was usually the responsible one, had that look in her triple eyes. Then Quillnex said the magic words, a human, a young human female to be specific, from Earth. Now I had heard of humans before. Everyone had, sort of. They were one of the newer species to the galactic community, only been around for maybe 20 cycles or so. Their planet had just been cleared for limited contact. From what I understood, they were these weird bipedal mammals from some mid-tier world in the unfashionable end of the galaxy. Soft skin, no natural armor, no venom, no telepathy, pretty much bottom of the food chain as far as galactic species went. In other words, perfect target. When she walked into the common area that afternoon, I actually had to stop myself from laughing out loud. She was tiny, maybe came up to my mid-thorax. And I am not even particularly tall for a Zelthian. She had this dark hair tied back in some kind of tail, pale skin, and these weird forward-facing eyes that apparently meant humans used to be predators or something. But come on, look at her. She was wearing their standardized uniform, carrying a bag that looked way too big for her frame, and she had this smile on her face. This big, friendly, innocent smile. Oh, we were going to have so much fun with this one. That evening we huddled in our usual spot, the maintenance alcove on Deck 7, where the surveillance cameras had a convenient blind spot. Zarn was practically vibrating with excitement, his scales doing that rainbow shimmer thing they do when he gets worked up. Okay. Listen, I said, pulling up my datapad. I have been doing research. Humans apparently have this thing called a fear response. Gets triggered by threats, predators, dangerous situations, makes their heart rate go up, pumps them full of adrenaline, fight or flight nonsense. Quilp clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. So, standard scare tactics. The holo projector in her quarters. Exactly, I grinned. Well, as much as a Xelthian can grin. But we go big. I am talking apex predator stuff. I found some entries in the Earth database. Something called a grizzly bear. 300 kilograms of teeth and claws. Should do the trick. Tessa looked uncertain, her antenna drooping slightly. Are we sure about this? She just arrived. Maybe we should give her a few days to settle in. Tessa, Zarn said, draping a wing across her shoulders. We are helping her adapt, builds resilience, practically a public service. She did not look convinced, but she did not stop us either. The human girl, her name was Maya, according to the student registry, had been assigned quarters in the humanoid-compatible section. Getting access was easy. Quilp was great with security systems, and within 10 minutes we had the holo projector hidden in her ventilation shaft, programmed and ready to go. We waited in the corridor, watching through Quilp's monitor as she entered her room. She dropped her bag, stretched, those weird jointless arms reaching up toward the ceiling, and then she moved toward her desk. That is when we triggered it. The holographic grizzly bear materialized right behind her, massive and snarling, its teeth bared, its roar echoing through the small quarters. The detail was perfect. I am talking every hair individually rendered, saliva dripping from its jaws. The smell of wet fur pumped through the atmospheric controls. Our best work yet. Maya turned around. And here is where it got weird. She looked at the bear. The bear roared at her, swiping one massive paw through the air. She tilted her head slightly, the way you might look at a mildly interesting insect. And then, I swear on my ancestors' molted shells, she smiled. Not a scared smile, not a nervous smile, a delighted smile. "Oh wow," she said, her voice absolutely calm, almost cheerful. "That is a really good render. The fur texture is incredible." She walked closer to it. Closer. Who walks toward the terrifying predator? "The subsurface scattering on the skin is a bit off though," she continued, reaching out like she was going to touch it. "And grizzlies do not usually show their teeth like that unless they are actually attacking. This is more of a threat display posture, but the vocalizations are wrong for that behavior." In the hallway, the four of us just stared at the monitor. "What," Quilp said flatly, "is happening right now?" The bear disappeared as the program timed out. Maya shrugged, went back to unpacking, and started humming some kind of tune. "Okay," I said, my confidence only slightly shaken. "Okay, she is smart. Figured out it was a hologram. That is fine. That is actually impressive. But let us try something more physical. Something she cannot logic her way out of." The gravity manipulation trick was a classic. We waited until she was in the common area the next day. Studying at one of the tables, Quilp worked his magic with the localized gravity controls, creating that stomach-dropping sensation of sudden weightlessness. Most species panic when their inner ear tells them they are falling. Maya's datapad floated up, her hair drifted around her face. She looked up, looked around, and then actually laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, is this one of those pranks?" she called out to the empty room. "My brother used to spin me around until I got dizzy. This is way less intense." She grabbed her datapad out of the air and kept reading, just floating there like it was the most normal thing in the universe. We turned the gravity back on. She landed gracefully on her feet, did not even stumble. I looked at my crew. My crew looked back at me. "What is wrong with her?" Zorn whispered, his scales turning a confused gray color. "Alright, so maybe I got a little obsessed. Sue me. Our reputation was on the line here. Okay? We had never, and I mean never, failed to get at least a yelp out of a new student." Maya had been at the academy for 3 days now, and she had reacted to our pranks with all the fear of someone watching paint dry. "There has to be something," I muttered, scrolling through the Earth cultural database for the 15th time that night. "Every species has fears. It is basic survival instinct." Zorn was pacing back and forth, his tail lashing in frustration. "Maybe humans do not have fear. Maybe they are just broken." "Do not be ridiculous," Tessa said, though she looked just as puzzled as the rest of us. "I have been reading their literature. They have entire entertainment genres based on fear. They call them horror movies. They deliberately scare themselves for fun." "That is insane," Quilp clicked. "Who does that?" "Humans, apparently," Tessa replied, scrolling through her own datapad. "And look at this. Arachnophobia, fear of spiders. Acrophobia, fear of heights. Nyctophobia, fear of darkness. They have names for hundreds of specific fears." I sat up straighter, my eye stalks focusing. Okay, now we are getting somewhere. We have been thinking too small. We need to combine everything. A full sensory assault. And I know exactly where we can do it. The simulation room was typically used for emergency training scenarios, but Quilp had administrator access because his parent worked in station security. We spent the entire next day programming the perfect nightmare scenario. Darkness, check. Hostile environment, check. Predator sounds from the Earth database. Oh, you better believe that is a check. We threw in everything. Sudden temperature drops. The sound of things moving in the shadows. Even simulated rain and thunder, because apparently humans have a fear of storms called astrophobia. Getting Maya to the simulation room was easy. We just told her it was a mandatory orientation exercise for new students. She showed up right on time, still with that friendly smile, completely trusting. I almost felt bad. Almost. "Okay, Maya," I said, trying to sound official. "This is just a standard environmental adaptation test. Nothing to worry about." "Cool," she said, stepping into the simulation chamber. "Do I need any equipment or—" "Nope, you are good," Zorn said quickly, already keying in the program start sequence. The door sealed behind her. We rushed to the observation window. The lights went out. Complete darkness. Then the sounds started. Growling, snarling. The kind of deep throaty noises that trigger every prey instinct in the book. The temperature dropped 15 degrees in seconds. Thunder crashed overhead. So loud I felt it in my chest plates. Rain started pouring, simulated but convincing. Red eyes appeared in the darkness, moving closer. The ground beneath her feet became uneven, unstable. We watched, waited for the scream, the panic, the inevitable moment when she would pound on the door begging to be let out. Maya stood there, tilted her head up toward the simulated rain, and then, and I am not making this up, she spread her arms out and spun in a circle. "Oh, this is nice," her voice came through the speakers. "Reminds me of camping." "Camping?" Quilp repeated weakly. What is camping? I demanded. Maya walked forward, completely unbothered by the darkness, the sounds, any of it. She reached out and her hand passed through one of the holographic predators. Yeah, my family goes camping every summer. We hike out into the wilderness, sleep in these fabric shelters called tents. No electricity, no climate control, just us and nature. The four of us stared at each other in growing horror. Last year, Maya continued, her tone conversational like she was discussing the weather. A black bear actually came into our campsite at night. Dad had to scare it off by banging pots together. It was pretty exciting actually. A real bear? Zarn whispered. She encountered a real predator and she calls it exciting? Oh, and there was this one time, Maya went on, apparently happy to have an audience even though she could not see us, when a spider the size of my hand crawled into my sleeping bag. Australian huntsman spider. Totally harmless, but my mom still screamed. I just picked it up and put it outside. Tessa made a strangled sound. She was terrified of the tiny arthropods in the station's hydroponics bay, and those were barely a centimeter long. The size of her hand, Tessa repeated faintly. And storms. Maya laughed. Please. You have not lived until you have been in a Midwestern thunderstorm. Lightning so close you can feel the static in the air. Tornado warnings on your phone. Hail the size of golf balls denting cars. We used to sit on the porch and watch them roll in. I turned off the simulation. The lights came back on. Maya looked slightly disappointed. That was fun, she said as we opened the door. Is there a level 2? No, I said, my voice coming out smaller than intended. No, that was it. You passed. She shrugged, smiled that same friendly smile and walked out, humming again. We stood in silence for a long moment. Their planet is trying to kill them, Quilp said finally. Their own planet is actively trying to kill them and they go camping in it. For fun. We made a terrible mistake. I agree. So here is the thing about humans that nobody tells you, probably because nobody lives long enough on their Deathworld to properly document it. They are friendly. Like aggressively friendly. And Maya, bless her terrifying little heart, decided that our failed scare attempts were us trying to play with her. She found us in the cafeteria the next day, her tray loaded with what looked like colored paste and synthetic proteins. She plopped down right next to me, uninvited, grin. Hey, so I was thinking, she said, stabbing her fork into something purple. You guys have been trying to show me your idea of fun, right? The holograms, the gravity thing, the simulation. So how about I show you some human fun? We can play some games from back home. The four of us exchanged glances. How bad could it be, right? Wrong. So incredibly wrong. Sure, I said, because I am an idiot. What kind of games? Her eyes lit up. Oh, this is going to be great. Do you guys have a gymnasium? 20 minutes later, we were standing in the academy's multi-purpose athletic facility. Maya had changed into something called athletic wear, which was basically just tight-fitting fabric that allowed maximum movement. She was holding a rubber sphere about 20 centimeters in diameter. This, she announced proudly, is dodgeball. Dodgeball? Zarn repeated slowly. You throw the ball, other people dodge it. If it hits you, you are out. Last one standing wins. She bounced the ball casually. Do not worry. I will go easy on you. She did not go easy on us. The second the game started, Maya wound up and threw that ball with a speed that should not have been possible for someone her size. It hit Quilp square in the thorax with a thwack that echoed through the gymnasium. He went down, all 6 of his legs crumpling. You are out, Maya called cheerfully, already retrieving the ball. She broke me, Quilp wheezed. I think she broke me. It is just rubber, Maya said, sounding genuinely confused by our horror. We play this in elementary school, with kids half my age. She threw again. Zarn tried to fly out of the way, but she predicted his movement, adjusted mid-throw somehow and nailed him anyway. His scales flashed bright red in alarm as he tumbled to the ground. What kind of children's game involves projectile assault? Tessa shrieked, hiding behind a support beam. The fun kind, Maya replied. And I swear there was something predatory in her smile now. Oh, we also played this game called bombardment where you use multiple balls at once, and there is prison ball, and king's court. No, I said firmly, holding up my manipulator appendages in surrender. No more ball games. Okay, how about tag then? She tilted her head. That is less intense. Tag was not less intense. Tag involved Maya chasing us around the gymnasium at speeds that should have required mechanical enhancement. Her endurance was terrifying. She did not get tired. We were all gasping for air, our various respiratory systems failing, and she was barely breathing hard. Humans are pursuit predators, she explained while Zorn literally collapsed from exhaustion. We evolved to chase prey until it died from exhaustion. Persistence hunting, it is called. We are not fast, but we just keep going, and going, and going. Make it stop, Zorn moaned. Oh, this is nothing, Maya continued, sitting down cross-legged next to us with infuriating ease. You should see actual playground games. We had this equipment called monkey bars, these metal bars suspended 2 meters off the ground. You hang from them and swing across. Kids fall off all the time. I broke my arm twice on those things. Twice, Tessa whispered. Well, once on the monkey bars, once on the merry-go-round. That is the spinning platform where you run alongside it, jump on and hold on while it spins really fast. Lots of broken bones from that one. And do not even get me started on seesaws. She laughed, actually laughed, at the memory. My friend Jenny got launched off one and knocked out 2 teeth. Why? I managed to croak out. Why would your caretakers allow this? Maya shrugged. Builds character. Plus it is fun. Oh, and we used to have this game called Red Rover where you literally form a chain and try to break through other people's linked arms. That got banned at a lot of schools for being too dangerous. And you played it anyway, Quilp asked weakly. Well, yeah, Maya said, like it was obvious. Getting hurt is part of growing up. You fall, you bleed a little, you get back up. No big deal. No big deal, she said. No big deal. This girl, this tiny human girl, came from a planet where children routinely broke bones during recreational activities and considered it character building. I want to go home, Zorn whispered. Same, we all agreed. So, let me tell you what I learned about hubris, cosmic irony, and why you should never ever assume you are at the top of the food chain just because you have opposable appendages and a fancy education. Word spread fast, like wildfire fast. Within 2 days, every student at the Celestial Accord Academy knew that Maya, the tiny human girl with the friendly smile, was absolutely not to be messed with. And here is the kicker. They did not hear it from us bragging about our prank war. No, they heard it from the Vrelian exchange student who witnessed Maya casually catch a maintenance drone that had gone haywire, with her bare hands, while it was still spinning. I just grabbed it, she had explained to the gathering crowd. It was going to hit someone. The drone's blades had been rotating at 300 RPM. She had grabbed it, stopped it, did not even get cut. Suddenly Maya was the most popular and simultaneously the most avoided student on campus. Popular because everyone wanted to hear her Deathworld stories. Avoided because everyone was terrified she might accidentally kill them while demonstrating. I watched from a safe distance as she sat in the common area, surrounded by a group of students who were hanging on her every word but also looked ready to bolt at any second. So, anyway, Maya was saying, my little cousin, he is only 7. He decided to climb the tree in our backyard. Got about 10 meters up before the branch broke, fell straight down, landed on his back, got the wind knocked out of him. He cried for like 5 minutes and then climbed right back up. The Quilothian student listening looked like they were going to faint. Your younglings survived 10-meter falls, they stammered. I mean, he was sore for a few days, Maya admitted. But yeah, kids are pretty bouncy. We are actually built to take impacts better than most people think. High bone density, shock-absorbing cartilage, efficient healing. Plus, we learn early how to fall properly. I found Tessa later that day in the library. She was researching Earth with the intensity of someone preparing for a dissertation defense. Did you know, she said without looking up, that human children lose their teeth, like their actual teeth just fall out of their heads, and then new ones grow in? What? Why? Apparently it is a normal developmental process. They call them baby teeth. She looked up at me, her 3 eyes wide. Veko, they are apex predators who have a built-in spare set of teeth. What kind of evolutionary pressure requires backup teeth? I sat down heavily. I think we need to apologize to Maya. You think? We found her in her quarters that evening. The 4 of us stood at her door like students called to the administrator's office. I knocked. Well, I tapped the door sensor. You know what I mean. Maya opened the door, saw, and her face lit up with that same genuine happy smile. Oh, hey guys. What is up? We need to apologize, I said quickly, before my courage failed. The pranks, the scares, all of it. We were trying to mess with you because you were new, and that was wrong. Her smile faltered. Wait, those were pranks? I thought we were playing. I thought you were trying to be friends. And just like that, I felt like the smallest creature in the galaxy. You were not scared at all? Quilp asked quietly. Scared? No, I was excited. Nobody ever wants to do fun stuff with me at first because I am always the new kid. I have moved 6 times because of my mom's work. You guys were the first people to actually interact with me when I got here. She looked genuinely sad now. I thought we were bonding. Zarn made a sound like air escaping from a valve. You thought simulated mortal peril was bonding? Well, yeah. You put effort into it. That simulation was really well programmed. She paused. Was I supposed to be scared? I am so sorry, I did not realize. I was just trying to show you guys that I could keep up, that I wanted to be friends. There was a long, painful silence. We are idiots, Tessa said finally. Complete idiots. I agreed. Maya's smile came back, smaller but genuine. So, we are friends now? For real? Yes, I said quickly. But maybe we do friendship activities that do not involve projectiles or physical exertion. Deal. Maya laughed. But you are missing out. I was going to teach you all double Dutch jump rope next. What is double Dutch jump rope? Zarn asked cautiously. 2 ropes spinning in opposite directions while you jump between them. It is great cardio. No, we all said in unison. Maya just grinned. So here is what I know now. 3 months later, Maya is genuinely one of the kindest, most thoughtful beings I have ever met. She helps Quilp with his engineering homework. She taught Tessa how to braid her hair appendages. She convinced Zarn that trying new foods would not kill him. Probably. But I also know with absolute certainty that humans are terrifying. They come from a world that spends every single day trying to murder them, and they respond by building character, making games out of survival and calling it childhood. They break bones and grow back up teeth and chase prey until it dies from exhaustion, and they do it all with a smile. I have never pranked another student since Maya arrived. Not because I lost my nerve. Not because I grew up or matured or found enlightenment. But because, if I learned anything from this experience, it is this. Never, and I mean never, underestimate a species that considers falling out of trees a normal part of growing up. Also, Maya joined the Academy's first contact diplomatic training program. She wants to be an ambassador. The galaxy does not stand a chance. And honestly, I think we are all okay with that. Just, maybe someone should warn them first.